Lily Thompson sat alone at a small cafe in downtown. The steam from her coffee curled up in the cool morning air, but Lily's mind wasn't on the drink in front of her. She had just been through the most painful breakup of her life. 3 months ago, she had met Ryan Miller on a dating app, and their connection had been instant. Within 2 weeks, they had agreed to become exclusive. Ryan was everything she had wanted: kind, funny, and intelligent. He had a way of making her feel special and loved. But that didn't stop the betrayal from hitting her like a tidal wave. She had discovered, just 3 weeks into their relationship, that Ryan had stayed over at another woman's apartment, kissed her, shared pizza, and slept on her couch. He had insisted that nothing happened, that it was innocent, but Lily could see the cracks forming in their relationship. What stung the most wasn't just the kiss, it was the conversation they had, where Ryan had spoken about her with the other woman. The realization that someone else knew about their relationship before Lily did was unbearable. Lily had tried to move past it. She told herself that maybe she was overreacting. After all, Ryan had apologized. He had said he was sorry, but every time she looked at him, there was a part of her that couldn't trust him. The seed of doubt had been planted, and it wouldn't go away. "You're not over it, are you?" her best friend, Emma, asked one evening as they sat in Lily's living room, talking over glasses of wine. "No," Lily admitted, her voice breaking. "I want to believe him. I do. But I can't shake the feeling that something's missing. It feels like I'm just lying to myself if I pretend like everything is fine." Despite the doubts, Lily found herself constantly drawn to Ryan. There were moments when he would do something small, hold her hand, laugh at her jokes, kiss her forehead, and she would almost forget everything. Almost. But trust had been shattered, and no matter how much she wanted to move past it, it seemed impossible. Ryan had told her that he was committed to her, that he understood why she felt hurt, but the words felt hollow. "Lily," Ryan had said one night, his voice pleading, "I need you to trust me. Please. I've made a mistake, but that doesn't mean I don't love you." But Lily was stuck. Could she forgive him? Could she forget? Could she move on? She didn't know. And so, after a long night of thought, she made the painful decision to break up with him. "I think we need some time apart," Lily said, her voice steady but filled with sorrow. "I can't move past this, Ryan. Not right now." In the weeks that followed, Lily threw herself into work. She started picking up extra shifts at her job as an event planner, spending her evenings catching up on old hobbies, and filling her weekends with new activities. But no matter how hard she tried to keep busy, there was a piece of her that still missed Ryan. It wasn't the betrayal she missed, it was the companionship, the connection they had shared. She hadn't been alone in a long time, and it was more difficult than she had anticipated. One afternoon, as Lily sat at her desk in the office, she received a message from an unknown number. Her heart skipped a beat as she opened the message. "Lily, it's Ryan. I know you don't want to talk to me right now, but I need to apologize again. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I realize I made the biggest mistake of my life. I hurt you, and I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that I regret everything. Please, if you ever want to talk, I'm here." Lily stared at the message for a long time. It felt like the past was knocking at her door again, reminding her of what they had, and the love that had once felt so real. But something inside her refused to go back. She couldn't do it. Not now. Not after everything. She closed her phone and shook her head. It was over. Weeks passed, and Lily began to find her footing again. She started dating casually, going on a few coffee dates here and there, but nothing seemed to stick. She met new people, but none of them sparked the kind of connection she had once shared with Ryan. One evening, while attending a friend's art exhibition, Lily bumped into someone unexpected, a man named David Reynolds. He was a friend of her best friend, Emma. They chatted briefly, and David's easygoing demeanor and warm smile immediately put Lily at ease. He didn't seem like someone who was trying too hard or pushing for anything. There was something refreshing about him, like a breath of fresh air after a long, suffocating day. They exchanged numbers, and soon, their casual conversations turned into something more. David and Lily's first date was simple. They met at a local cafe, where they spent hours talking about everything, from their favorite books to their childhood dreams. Lily was surprised by how natural the conversation felt. She hadn't expected it to be so easy. She found herself laughing more than she had in months. I'm really glad we did this, Lily said, smiling as she took a sip of her coffee. It's been a while since I've just talked to someone like this. David grinned, his eyes warm. I feel the same way. It's nice not to feel rushed or pressured, just enjoying the moment. By the end of the evening, Lily felt a sense of calm she hadn't realized she had been missing. Maybe, just maybe, there was a future that didn't include Ryan. David wasn't perfect, but there was something incredibly genuine about him. He listened to Lily when she spoke, and he never made her feel like she had to justify herself. The more they spent time together, the more Lily felt like she could let her guard down. It wasn't an easy road. Her trust had been shattered, and sometimes, when David would do something small, like forgetting to text her back for a few hours, Lily would feel the familiar knot of anxiety in her stomach. But David never failed to reassure her. He never made her feel like she was overreacting. Instead, he patiently helped her heal. I know it's hard, David said one evening as they sat on her couch, but we can take this slow. I'm here, whenever you're ready. One day, Lily walked into a local bookstore to browse for a new novel. As she turned the corner, she came face to face with Ryan. Her heart stopped for a second, the weight of the past rushing back to her. Lily, Ryan said, his voice hesitant, his face filled with regret. I didn't expect to see you here. I've been thinking a lot about what happened, and I wanted to apologize again. I know I don't deserve it, but I need to say it. Lily looked at him, her heart a mixture of sadness and resolution. Ryan, I've moved on. I've forgiven you in my heart, but we can't go back. I can't go back. Ryan nodded, his eyes heavy with understanding. I understand. I just wanted to make sure you knew that I truly regret what I did. Lily took a deep breath. I know, Ryan. I know. And with that, she turned and walked away, leaving the past where it belonged. Lily Thompson walked through the door of her apartment, the familiar hum of the city outside fading as she stepped into the quiet of her living room. The conversation with Ryan had left a lingering ache in her chest, but there was something else too, relief. She had closed that chapter. She had let go. And for the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe again. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, snapping her out of her thoughts. It was a message from David. Hey, are you still up for that movie night tonight? I'll bring the popcorn. Lily smiled at the message, a warmth spreading through her chest. David, the man who, over the last few weeks, had somehow managed to make her believe in the possibility of something new, something good. She hesitated for a moment, her thumb hovering over the keyboard as she thought about the risk of opening herself up again. But then, with a sigh, she typed back, I'm looking forward to it. The movie night was just the distraction she needed. David arrived shortly after, carrying a small bag of snacks and an easy smile. It was such a simple gesture, but it felt like a quiet promise, a promise of peace, of no drama, of no rushing. David was never in a hurry. His easygoing nature had slowly started to weave its way into Lily's life, like a thread connecting the pieces of her heart back together. They sat together on the couch, the dim light from the television casting flickering shadows on the walls. As they watched the movie, David's hand brushed against hers. It was an innocent touch, but it felt significant, grounding. Lily didn't pull away. Instead, she let her hand linger, and David gently intertwined his fingers with hers. She turned to him, finding his eyes already on her. You okay? He asked softly, his voice like a balm to her frayed nerves. Lily smiled, nodding. I think I am. But even as she felt herself slipping into this new, calming rhythm, doubts lingered at the edges of her mind. Ryan's face kept flashing in her thoughts, his apologies ringing in her ears. Could she truly leave that past behind, or was it following her, a shadow she couldn't escape? The days that followed the movie night were filled with more quiet moments with David, long walks through the city, visits to new cafes, and spontaneous adventures that left Lily feeling lighter than she had in a long time. David was an anchor, pulling her back to the present every time she felt herself drifting to thoughts of Ryan. But despite the progress she was making, there were moments when the weight of her past crept in. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, Lily lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling, her mind racing. The sound of her phone buzzing on the nightstand broke her thoughts. She reached over and checked the screen. It was from Ryan. Lily, I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I know we're both moving on, but I just wanted to let you know that you meant more to me than anything. I'll always care about you." Her heart twisted. She hadn't expected this, didn't want it. But there it was, another reminder of the man she had loved and lost. The man who had betrayed her. Lily stared at the message for a long time, her fingers hovering over the screen. She could feel the familiar ache of longing, but this time it was different. She had moved on. She had found someone who understood her in a way Ryan never had. Someone who treated her with patience and kindness, without any expectation. With a sigh, Lily put the phone down. She needed to stop looking back. She needed to focus on what she had in front of her, what she was building with David. Her thumb hovered over the message from Ryan one last time before she deleted it, the finality of the action settling over her like a weight lifting from her chest. The next day, Lily met David for lunch. They sat in a small bistro, their usual corner table near the window. She could hear the chatter of the other customers, but it all felt distant, like the world outside was fading away, leaving only the two of them. "Everything okay?" David asked, his eyes warm with concern as he picked up his coffee cup. Lily hesitated. How could she explain the mess of emotions inside her? The pull to her past that seemed so strong, even when she was trying to move forward. "I heard from Ryan today," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. He's still apologizing. Still saying he cares." David's expression softened, his thumb running gently over the rim of his cup. "How does that make you feel?" Lily took a deep breath, letting the words settle before she spoke again. "It hurts, but it also feels like a weight I don't have to carry anymore." David nodded slowly, as if processing her words. "You know, if you ever need to talk about it, or if you need to cry about it, I'm here. No pressure. Just if it helps." Lily felt her chest tighten with emotion. She had never realized how much she needed someone to just listen, to not judge her for her feelings, to let her heal in her own time. "Thank you," she said softly, her eyes meeting his. I think I'm finally ready to let go of him. For good." David's smile was gentle, understanding. "I think you're already halfway there." Over the next few weeks, Lily's life began to shift in ways she hadn't anticipated. With David, she felt a sense of stability she had never known before. There was no rush, no pressure. They spent their time together building something real, something that felt right. But there was still the matter of trust. With every step forward, Lily found herself looking over her shoulder. Could she really trust again? Could she open herself up fully to someone else without the fear of being hurt? One night, after a quiet dinner at her apartment, the two of them were sitting on the couch, talking about their favorite memories from childhood. Lily could feel herself relaxing, the warmth of David's presence seeping into her bones. Then, without warning, David turned to her, his eyes serious. "Lily, there's something I need to tell you." Lily's heart skipped a beat. Had she done something wrong? Was this some kind of test? "What is it?" she asked, her voice thick with concern. David exhaled slowly, as though gathering his thoughts. "I just want to say that I'm here for you. I know trust is a big thing, and I know you've been hurt before. But I need you to know that I'm not going anywhere. I want to be here for you, whatever that looks like. No matter what." Lily felt her breath catch in her throat. There it was, the vulnerability she had been afraid of, the kind that made her feel like she was standing on the edge of something huge and unknown. But with David's words, it was like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling the sincerity in his words. I'm still learning to trust." David reached for her hand, his fingers gently wrapping around hers. "And I'll be here, every step of the way." For the first time in a long time, Lily believed him. The days turned into weeks, and slowly but surely, Lily began to let go of the past. Ryan's face faded from her thoughts, replaced by David's steady presence. There were still moments of doubt, moments when Lily would catch herself second-guessing her decisions. But with every conversation, every shared laugh, every small act of kindness, she was rebuilding the foundation of trust that had been shattered. It wasn't perfect. Nothing ever is. But with David, Lily had found something she hadn't even realized she was looking for, a safe place to heal. And maybe, just maybe, she was ready to believe in love again. Lily stood on her balcony, looking out at the city skyline. The sun was setting, casting hues of pink and orange across the sky, and for the first time in what felt like forever, she felt at peace. The soft hum of the evening rush hour drifted up from the streets below, but it was distant, like it belonged to another world. Her world, in that moment, felt calm, settled. It had been months since she and Ryan had gone their separate ways. The pain of the breakup, the confusion, the betrayal, those emotions were still there, but they no longer defined her. She built a new life, piece by piece, with work, friends, and a new relationship that felt, somehow, more like home than she had ever expected. David, her smile softened at the thought of him. He had been a constant source of light, unwavering in his patience, never pushing her when she needed time to heal. Every conversation they shared, every quiet moment together, had been a step toward healing. She hadn't known how badly she needed someone like him until he had entered her life, calm, steady, and willing to take things at her pace. Lily had learned something in those months. Healing wasn't a straight line. It wasn't something that could be neatly packaged and moved on from. It came in waves, sometimes leaving her breathless, other times offering a moment of clarity, a realization that she was no longer the same person who had been shattered by betrayal. But there were still the moments when the fear crept back in, when doubt would cloud her judgment, or when she would catch herself comparing David to Ryan. It happened most often in the quiet of the night, when her mind wandered, searching for ghosts of the past. She would lie awake, listening to the sound of her own breath, wondering if it was possible to love someone again without carrying the weight of past hurt, wondering if she was truly capable of giving David the trust he deserved. But then she would remember him, his soft voice, his steady gaze, and the way he made her feel safe. He had never asked her to forget. He simply asked her to trust him, to trust herself, and to trust the space they had built together. One evening, as she and David sat on her couch watching a documentary about a wildlife expedition, Lily couldn't help but notice how easy everything felt between them. There was no pressure, no expectation, just two people who enjoyed each other's company. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table, and she glanced at the screen. It was a message from Emma, her best friend. "Hey, I was thinking we could all grab drinks this weekend. What do you think?" Lily thought for a moment. It had been a while since she had done something with Emma in the group. After everything with Ryan, she hadn't been socializing much, preferring the quiet, introspective moments she'd come to value. But things had shifted. She felt more like herself again. She turned to David, who was scrolling through his own phone. "Hey, Emma wants to grab drinks this weekend," she said. "What do you think?" David smiled, setting his phone down and meeting her gaze. "Sounds like fun. I'd love to join you." Lily blinked, surprised. "Really?" David laughed softly. "Of course. I'm not the best at group settings, but I'd be happy to be your date for the night." Lily felt warmth spread through her at his words. "Okay then, let's do it." The night out with Emma and the rest of their friends felt like a milestone. Lily hadn't realized how much she missed the simplicity of socializing, of being around people who understood her. It was effortless, and the laughter that flowed freely reminded her of who she used to be before everything had fallen apart with Ryan. David, as always, was easygoing. He slid into conversations naturally, never forcing himself into the spotlight, always attentive to Lily and her friends. It was clear that he wasn't just present, he was engaged. Every word he spoke felt like it came from a genuine place, and Lily couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for his calm presence in her life. As the evening wound down, the group said their goodbyes, and Lily and David made their way out of the bar, the cool night air wrapping around them. "Thanks for coming tonight," Lily said, slipping her arm through his. "It was good to see everyone." David smiled, his hand resting comfortably on her shoulder. "I had a great time. And by the way, you're amazing. I don't think I could have asked for a better date." Lily laughed, her heart light. "It's not that hard, you know. I'm pretty easygoing." David grinned, the expression in his eyes soft. "Maybe, but you're also someone who's been through a lot. I respect that." The compliment hit her in an unexpected way. She'd heard people tell her that she was strong, that she was resilient, but hearing it from David felt different. It felt real. She wasn't just someone who was moving on. She was someone who had survived, someone who had grown. And yet, as they walked back to her apartment, she couldn't help but feel a flicker of unease. Something in her heart stirred, a voice telling her that she wasn't entirely free of the chains that bound her to her past. That there was still some unfinished business, something unspoken that she had yet to confront. The next morning, Lily woke up with a knot in her stomach. She hadn't expected the feeling to linger. She had a good night, hadn't she? Everything had gone well. But the anxiety of the night before remained, a small shadow in the corner of her mind. She rolled over, glancing at David, who was still asleep beside her. His steady breathing was a calming presence, but the questions were starting to grow louder in her mind. It wasn't until later that afternoon, when they sat on her balcony, sipping iced coffee and talking about their plans for the upcoming week, that she felt the courage to say what had been bothering her. "David," Lily started, her voice hesitant, "I've been thinking a lot lately. About trust." David set his coffee cup down, his eyes soft and understanding. "What about it?" Lily paused, trying to find the right words. "I think I'm still scared. I know I'm happy with you. I know I'm ready to move forward, but sometimes I feel like I'm still holding on to the past. I'm still afraid." David reached out, gently taking her hand. "Lily, I know it's hard. Trust is never easy, especially after everything you've been through. But I need you to know I'm not going anywhere. I'm not asking you to forget what happened. I'm just asking for the chance to show you that I'm different." Lily felt a wave of emotion wash over her, a mix of relief and gratitude. It was so simple, yet so profound. She had never felt more understood. For the first time, she realized that the key to moving forward wasn't just about erasing the past. It was about accepting it, acknowledging it, and then choosing to trust again. She nodded slowly, squeezing his hand. "I'm not perfect either, but I want to try. I want to trust you." David's smile was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. "We'll take it one step at a time. Together." As the weeks passed, Lily continued to let go of the past, one small piece at a time. There were still moments of doubt or fear, but she had learned how to navigate them. With David by her side, she wasn't just surviving, she was living again. The shadows of her past no longer controlled her. They were just that, shadows. And in the light of this new beginning, she was finally ready to step forward, embracing whatever came next with an open heart. For the first time in a long time, Lily Thompson felt ready to love again. Fully, completely, without reservation. And as she looked ahead to the future, she knew one thing for sure. Whatever happened, she would face it with the strength and courage that had always been inside her. The days felt lighter now, almost as though Lily had been walking through a fog for so long that the world around her had become sharper, more vivid. She felt grounded, yet freer than ever before. She and David had settled into a rhythm, their relationship growing into something beautiful, something deeper than she had expected. There were no more doubts, no more walls. She had learned to trust again, not just David, but herself. But even amidst the calm, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that a big decision was looming on the horizon. It was a Saturday morning when she and David took a trip to the nearby farmer's market. The air was crisp, and the market was alive with the hum of vendors setting up their stalls, fresh produce lining the tables, and the sound of children laughing. David was beside her, his hand casually resting on the small of her back as they meandered through the market. "I think we need more strawberries," Lily said, pointing at a stall covered in plump, ripe berries. David grinned. "You're obsessed with strawberries. I'm just appreciating the good things in life," she teased. "Like you." David chuckled, turning to her with a soft look in his eyes. "You know, I'm really glad we're doing this." Lily smiled back, feeling her chest warm. "Yeah, me too. It's nice, isn't it?" They continued walking, casually chatting about everything and nothing. But inside, a quiet storm was building in Lily's heart. She could feel it, a change in the air, a shift in her life that she hadn't expected. It had been so easy to settle into this comfortable space with David, but she was beginning to sense that she couldn't stay in this bubble forever. She needed more. The thought had been growing inside her for a few weeks, ever since they'd been talking about the future during their late-night conversations. David had been patient with her. He had never pressured her, never asked her for more than she was willing to give. But there was something about him, something that made Lily believe that they were more than just a moment in time. She had already taken steps to move on from the past, but now it felt like she had to decide if she was truly ready to embrace the future. The future with him. As the weekend passed, Lily couldn't shake the feeling of being on the precipice of something big. The quiet longing that had started to build now pulsed through her every thought. Her heart was torn between staying in the security of the present and leaping into the uncertainty of the future. The future with David. But every time she saw him, something clicked. His kindness, his understanding, the way he made her feel safe, yet challenged her in all the right ways. David wasn't the answer to all her problems. He wasn't a replacement for Ryan. But he was something different. He was a promise that she could trust, that she could feel safe without sacrificing herself. It was late one evening, after a quiet dinner at her apartment, that Lily found herself standing in front of the mirror, her fingers tracing the edge of the countertop. She had been thinking about it all day, thinking about David, about them. She walked over to the couch where David was lounging, flipping through a magazine. His relaxed posture, the way he looked at ease in her space, made her heart swell. She paused for a moment, watching him. And in that pause, the answer became clear. She was ready. She wasn't just ready to move forward. She was ready to take the leap. David, Lily said softly, sitting beside him. She felt her heart race in anticipation, unsure of how he would respond, but certain that she had to say it. David looked at her, setting down the magazine. Yeah. Lily took a deep breath, gathering the courage to speak the words she had been holding inside for so long. I think I'm ready for more. For us. David's brow furrowed slightly, a mix of curiosity and tenderness in his eyes. What do you mean? Lily smiled, a mixture of relief and nervous excitement filling her chest. I mean, I want to build something with you. Not just today or tomorrow, but long term. I want to keep doing this, keep exploring life with you, and see where it takes us. The silence that followed felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. David stared at her, his eyes searching hers for something. For reassurance, for a sign. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face, soft and genuine. Lily, he whispered, reaching out to hold her hand. I've been hoping you'd say that. Her heart soared, the weight of uncertainty slipping away. Really? Really, he said, pulling her into a hug, his voice warm against her ear. I've wanted this too. I've wanted us for so long. Lily breathed a sigh of relief, her body melting into his. For the first time in a long while, she felt the weight of everything she'd been holding on to fall away. She had made it through the storm, and now, she was standing on the other side, ready to walk through the doors of a new beginning. Over the next few weeks, their connection deepened. They started talking about the future more seriously, about where they might live, the kind of lives they wanted to build. Conversations that once felt daunting or too far away now seemed natural. It was as if the pieces of their lives were falling into place. One evening, as they sat on Lily's couch, sharing a bottle of wine, Lily turned to David with a sudden thought that had been rattling around in her mind for the last few days. David, she began, her voice tentative, what if we moved in together? David's eyes widened slightly, but he didn't hesitate. I'd love that, he said, his voice steady and warm. But only if you're ready. No pressure. Lily's heart beat faster at the idea. It felt like the next natural step. With everything they had shared, everything they had built, she couldn't imagine anything else. But more than that, it was a commitment, a way of saying that they were in this for the long haul. Not just today or tomorrow, but forever. She nodded slowly, a smile tugging at her lips. Yeah, I think I am ready to take that step with you. And so, they made plans that felt real, plans that were built on the trust they had worked so hard to cultivate. It was a leap, yes, but it was a leap that felt right. The weeks that followed were filled with the excitement of change, packing boxes, finding a new place together, and navigating the practicalities of blending their lives. But even in the midst of all the chaos, it was easier than Lily had imagined. Because with David by her side, it didn't feel like work. It felt like home. And there, in the quiet moments as they unpacked boxes, cooked dinner together, or shared a cup of coffee in the morning, Lily knew that this was where she was meant to be. It was a Friday evening, and after a long week, Lily and David sat together on their new couch in their new apartment, the sound of soft jazz playing in the background. The city lights sparkled through the window, and the room felt cozy lived in. Lily glanced at David, her heart full. I can't believe we're here. Together. David smiled, his hand resting gently on hers. I know. Feels like a dream. It doesn't feel like a dream, Lily replied, her voice firm with conviction. It feels like the life we're meant to live. And in that moment, as they sat side by side, she knew that this was only the beginning. The leap she had taken, the trust she had found, had led her to this place of peace, of happiness. She had taken that step forward into the unknown, and found her way to something far better than she could have ever imagined. This was her future now, and it was more than she had ever dared to hope for.